Hi, I'm Fadhilah with student ID number 216121007. In this video, to fulfill the midterm assignment of learning language assessment. So here I will explain the material from all of group which have been explained by my friend. Before we explain the material, we have to know the meaning from language learning assessment first. So, language learning assessment is designed to provide the student with mainly the application of some background theories, norms, and principles of assessment in English. Yang berarti language learning assessment ini dirancang untuk memberikan siswa dengan aplikasi utama dari beberapa teori latar belakang, nama dan prinsip-prinsip penilaian dalam pengajaran bahasa Inggris. So move to the next material. This is so I take from group 2, authentic assessment. Authentic assessment is a course evaluation method where the student applies their knowledge to unique real-life context or situation. So from Jan Moeller, he described it as a form of assessment in which students are asked to perform real-world tasks that demonstrate meaningful application of essential knowledge and skills. Jadi, penilaian autentik ini adalah metode evaluasi mata kuliah di mana siswa menerapkan pengetahuan mereka ke dalam konteks atau situasi kehidupan nyata yang unik. So next is characteristic of authentic assessment. So the first is authentic assessment start with clear definite criteria of performance made known to the students. So second, authentic assessment is criterion reference rather than from reference, and so it identifies strengths and weaknesses but does not compare student non-rank of their level of performance. So third is authentic assessment requires students to make their answer to questions rather than select from given option as multiple choice items and require them to use a range of higher order thinking skill. And the last is authentic assessment often emphasize performance, and therefore students are required to demonstrate their knowledge, skill, and competencies in appropriate situations. So from group 3, types of tests, strengths and weaknesses of tests. So the meaning from test is a tool for measuring, namely to collect information on the characteristic of an object. So according to Jomari, a test is a way to assess a person's ability indirectly through a person's response to a stimulus or question. So based on the form of student answer, this test can be divided into 3 types. The first one is written test, or we can use pencil test or paper test. So second is oral test, and the last is performance test. So next is I will explain about the oral test. An oral test is a test that demands answer from students in oral form. So students will say the answer in their own words according to the questions or command given. So The advantage from oral test, the first is we can find out right away the ability of students to express their opinion orally. The second is there is no need to organize the question in detail, but it is enough to note down the main points of problem. So students might guess the answer and speculation can be avoided. So if there's advantage, so there's disadvantage. The first is it takes quite a long time. So the last is there's often an element of subjectivity. So here move to group 4, which the title is Rules in Constructing Test Items and Test Scoring. So here I will explain the step for constructing test item. The first is determine the purpose of the test. So second is determine the competence to be tested. Third, determine the material to be tested. So fourth is determine the distribution of items based on competence, material, and the form of assessment, like written test, multiple choice form, description, and practical test. So next is arrange the grid, write the items, validate the item, or examine qualitatively, and assembling question into test kits. So next is compile the scoring guidelines. 10 is test item question. So 11 quantitative analysis of the items from the empirical data from the test result, and the last is prepare of question based on the results of the analysis. So this is the step for constructing test item. The next is Bloom's taxonomy, grid of the test, and procedures of the test. Taxonomy is a classification system or grouping. So this taxonomy classifies educational goals into 3 domains, namely the cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. So the next is there's reliability. Instrument reliability can be tested with several reliability tests. Some reliability tests of an instrument that can be used include test retest, equivalent, and internal consistency. So in internal consistency itself has several different test techniques. The technique internal consistency reliability test consists of from split half test, KR20, KR21, and alpha cron batch. However, each test has criteria for what kind of instrument can be tested with this technique. Jadi perbedaan validitas dan reliabilitas ini adalah validitas itu untuk mengukur sejauh mana hasil bisa mengukur dengan benar apa yang seharusnya diukur. Sedangkan reliabilitas ini mengukur sejauh mana hasil yang sama bisa diulangi jika menggunakan kondisi yang sama. Okay everyone, maybe enough here about my explanation. I hope you guys can understand about what I explained in this video. And last I say you, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.